Once you begin working your way to the far north of Scotland, you run into Ben Braggie and the infamous statue of the Duke of Sutherland. And the reason why this is the most hated statue in all of Scotland is because of the Duke's Highland clearances. Now, to understand these clearances and the reason why a Scottish man would be blamed for them, you need to understand that up until the late 1700s, most Scottish hereditary chiefs viewed themselves as stewards of their people and as protectors. However, as business interests from the south came into play and people began reaching out and saying, hey, we'd love to buy this property and use it as a sheep farm, a lot of men, chief among them the Dukes of Sutherland, reached out and said, yeah, we'll take that deal. And overnight, the tens of thousands of Highlanders who lived on the land that had been in those clans for hundreds of years now found themselves evicted. They were sent to clearance villages and eventually sent abroad to Australia or to the Appalachians, which is why we have our very distinctive culture here. And basically, the Duke of Sutherland had one of the most active roles to play in this. He happily took money and gained unfathomable wealth. And a lot of people really still want this statue taken down. Every now and then you have somebody coming out there and trying to tear it over, but it's a giant statue, and it is also a very poignant reminder of the past. And down in town, you have the Gospey Cemetery. And what I think is so interesting is that you have a lot of Highland clan people buried here, a lot of them dating back to the 17 and 1600s. The first grave I noticed that really stuck out to me was that of Donald Matson, who was a soldier in the Earl of Sutherland's Highland Regiment, dying in 1762. You also have a couple graves here of the MacLeod clan, and they actually believed themselves to be the descendants of the Viking king Olaf the Black, King of the Isles and the Isle of Man. Beautiful carvings and crosses adorn these old graves, clan symbols carved in the 18th century, and plenty of them from the Sutherland clan. The village of Badby used to stand in this spot. It was actually a clearance village, a sad spit of houses sandwiched between the cliffs and the sea, a remnant of what the Highlanders used to call the eviction of the Gaels. Many wealthy clan leaders, particularly the Sutherlands, were renting out land to peasants for open grazing. Because the price of goods was dropping, however, these clansmen wanted to increase their profits, and they evicted everybody. And they went to go move into villages like this one. And basically, you need to understand the Sutherlands owned about half the country at the time of the clearances, and they again acted more or less as collaborators in selling all of that land off. The evicted tenants were forced to move into crofting villages to work the quarries and the mines and to collect kelp. Eventually, these communities became overcrowded as landlords sought to make even more profits, and the Highland potato famine struck at around this time, so former landlords made them a deal. We'll pay for you to leave so long as you never come back. Now, many Highlanders took this deal and are celebrated as tragic victims of an injustice of the agricultural revolution. The majority of the evicted were, in fact, Gaelic, and the culture of genuine Highland Scots was nearly wiped out. Clan culture was destroyed as well, and the chiefs began to see themselves as normal, ordinary landlords rather than as patriarchs of their people. These clearances began around 1750 and ended sometime around 1860. This village, the village of Badby, was created in the 1700s to hold people displaced so their landlord could build sheep farms in their valleys. The last permanent residents here left in 1911, at which time this monument was built in their honor.